I'm Bev Adams. I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up, and I'd like to show you this birthday card with my custom designer series paper cardstock and a fancy fold. Happy birthday to you. Let's get started. I wanted to try this layout of cutting my cardstock diagonally, and so if you take out the scoring tool from your simply from your Stampin' Trimmer. So if you take out the scoring blade, you can cut the 8.5 by 11 cardstock diagonally. Now, you can't see all of this on here, but I'm lining up the corners in that center of the track. And then slicing from corner to corner. And then just score at 5.5 and 4 1/4, and you will have your standard card size. I would make a point of matching your corners down here and then using your bone folder to finish scoring. In addition to the half sheet of cardstock, you will need a sheet of shimmery white cardstock. And you could use Whisper White for this as well, but I thought it would be nice to have the extra thickness. And this is 5 1/4 by 4, and we're going to make some fancy designer series paper, custom made. And then we're also going to use 3 by 4 chocolate chip and another layer of shimmery white that is 3 3/4 by 2 3/4. And then a scrap of chocolate chip. And I'm going to use some wax paper and a dryer sheet. First, our designer series paper, we're going to use the shaving cream method. And when I was a teacher, I used to help my students clean their desks with shaving cream, and it was the highlight. And so you just squirt some shaving cream. It doesn't matter which brand you use. And then you need to spread it out. My students would just use their hands to spread it all over their desks, and then I would pass them some sponges to rinse them out, and the whole classroom would smell wonderful. And so when you make this project, your workspace will smell wonderful too. I didn't mention that this is pistachio pudding, and so we're going to use some pistachio pudding ink refills. And just drop in several drops, and how many drops depends on you. And I put in probably, maybe 10 drops. The more drops, the more ink you'll have, and then swirl it around. Then you want to press your cardstock into the shaving cream, and you want to avoid bubbles, so I'm actually going to curl the cardstock and press it in to avoid large bubbles of shaving cream, and then press it out to the edges. And then lift it up. And I think you'll find it easiest to lay this out on some paper towel and have another paper towel handy. And then I always find this quite magical. I don't know why it doesn't wipe off of the cardstock. And every one of these will be different, but I liked the gentle watery edges. a watery design. And so if you're working straight on your desk, you can have a nice clean desk too. Now you might want to set this aside to dry for a little bit, or you can use your heat tool to dry it. When it's dry, it should lay pretty flat, but we are going to adhere it all down, and so if it's a little curled, don't worry too much about it, but it flattens out pretty well. Now we're going to have it on your card this way, and we want to cut it from the top left to the bottom right. And because this is now one-sided, it will make an important difference that you're cutting it that way. And so now we've got our background. And I'm using Moon Lake. You could really use any of these images with this card. I'm using the one with the boat, and I'm using chocolate chip ink, and I'm going to stamp my image in the bottom left of this shimmery white card. And I'm going to use Crazy About You to stamp my greeting up in the right corner. And this could do for just about any occasion, but I'm writing happy birthday. Crazy About You has so many different options, and I will have a list of some of the phrases that I've come up with this stamp set. Come on over to bevadams.com and add your own phrases to this stamp set too. It'd be lovely to have as large of a collection as we can. So now that we've got our image stamped here, so I'm just going to adhere it to my matting card. I'm going to have my card open primarily like a book. I want to make sure my adhesive goes all the way to the corners on this piece. I'm using my silicone mat. And I want to get right up to the edge. Like so. And you do want these two pieces to match in the corners. Then I'm going to use dimensionals to attach this. I want to be sure and have my dimensionals close to my corners as I can without going over the edge. And so I'm going to kind of put my finger here, and I know that I want to put my dimensional as close to this edge as I can and above my finger. Going to do the same thing on the other corner. So I'm going to line that up, stick it there, and then on this corner I'm going to go ahead and put it on the card. And if I've done it right, my placement will be just fine, and my dimensionals will not be showing through. Oh, I've got some gummy here. So if you get gummy like I did, use your adhesive remover, and what I've got is a little bit of adhesive going over the edge right here. So I'm just going to remove that. And that should fix that. You've probably seen this trick that's been all over the internet, but in case you haven't seen it, some of these smaller Thinlits can be hard to get your Thinlits away from your cardstock. And so if you use just inexpensive dryer sheets, and you can even use used dryer sheets, I understand. Dryer sheet, cardstock, wax paper, and then I'm using the Hello U Thinlits, and I'm using the U, and then cover that with your clear plate. Again, dryer sheet, cardstock, wax paper, Thinlit. Run this through the Big Shot, and it will come right apart. The dryer sheet that I have leaves some residue behind, and I'm guessing that they probably all do. And so I try not to use larger cardstock than I really need to. You can see that my Thinlit came apart from the wax paper like a dream. You'll get a cutout wax paper, and then the only problem that you'll have with this part is you want to be sure that you're not tearing your word as you tear it off the dryer sheet. But it comes apart without any pieces that you need to pluck through. Now, when you go to adhere this, the dryer sheet will leave that residue, so you want to be sure and use sufficient adhesive. So, happy birthday. I'm going to put you here where it should be hiding behind my other layer, so check to make sure. And I'm using the multi-purpose glue, liquid glue, and this you need just such a tiny little bit, and so be very sparing, but you want to get the ends of the letters and then place you. Check my placement. I'm a little bit too high, and I may have some adhesive I'll need to erase with my eraser when this dries. But in the meantime, I want to put 2U, and so I'm going to find 2, and I have my 2, and ink that up with the chocolate chip. Happy birthday to you. And then you have the whole inside of the card. You could put some more another greeting stamp in there, or write your long love letter to your birthday recipient. Thank you for stopping by. If you need the supplies for this card, come on over to bevadams.com. I will also have the detailed instructions that you can print up for how to do your shaving cream background on your shimmery white cardstock. All the cutting instructions, and talk to you soon.